speaking of the worst takes you can possibly imagine on the baby shortage formula, another individual who I don't know what the heck is going on with people. People who are otherwise reasonable, come out with a take that is so unhinged. My initial reaction is to say this is parody, this is satire, this is commentary on people who are actually unhinged enough to actually believe this. Mark Levin. I swear, maybe it's satire. Chat, is this satire? Is Mark Levin being satirical here? Yes or no? Because it's so bad. There's no other way to understand it. For the Putin ass kissers out there who say, why don't we focus on the baby formula crisis rather than Ukraine? Legitimate question. It makes you a Putin ass kisser to say, why don't we worry about American babies before fighting a proxy war in Europe? It makes you a Putin ass kisser who wants to go with Scott Adams loser think, Putin ass kisser, going after intentions, ad hominem, straw manning, all in one, to call people who take this position Putin ass kissers. You know what, Mark Levin? If that's what you think, I want to know whose ass you're kissing, because this is a lot of confession through projection. To think that someone who says, why are we fighting a foreign war when babies in our own country need formula, that makes you a Putin ass kisser. That is a little guilt of confession through projection that bespeaks to the underlying motivations of your actions. Let's move on, though. For the Putin ass kissers out there who say, why don't we focus on the baby formula crisis rather than Ukraine? Good question. Let's hear the answer. The baby formula problem predates the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Okay. So it's an old item on our to-do list. Forget about it. It predates Ukraine. That was then. This is now. I mean, this is idiotic. I don't like calling people names. There's no way to describe this deficiency in reasoning, in prioritizing, other than idiotic or motivated by something else. And the way he's going after Putin ass kissers, I can only imagine whose ass he's kissing that caused him to have this absolutely idiotic position. It predates the invasion of Ukraine. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here's another good part. And it's not about federal funding, but government incompetence. Damn fools. This is Jagmeet Singh level stupidity right here. He is basically saying it predates the war in Ukraine, so somehow that makes it less pressing. It somehow makes it less of a national interest. It somehow makes it less of a priority. Not just that. It's not about federal funding, but it's about government incompetence, you damn fools. Oh, it's about government incompetence. So let's go ahead and empower that incompetent government to blow away $40 billion. Holy sweet merciful hell. Is this serious, Mark Levin show? The problem predates $40 billion to Ukraine, and that's a justification. And it results from government incompetence. The same incompetent government they just gave $40 billion to fund a foreign war. Are you an idiot? I mean, the thing is this. Yeah, I got angry, and I'm worried that I misunderstood something in that tweet. Have I misunderstood something in that tweet, people? Please. Have I misunderstood something in that tweet? And I'm serious. It is. You're all wrong. He's not a warmonger or a neocon. Learn to read, Viva. Hold on. Now I don't know if you're playing with me. It's not incompetence. Okay, hold on. I don't know if Debbie Johnson is pulling neocon. I don't know. Okay, no. Okay, I'm not misreading it. Fine. I read it like 5 times. Like, it's not possible. I must be misunderstanding this. For all the Putin ass kissers saying, why don't we worry about our newborn babies in America? That problem predates the war in Ukraine. So you're a Putin ass kisser for still being concerned about a problem that we have not yet resolved. And by the way, it doesn't have to do with government funding. It has to do with government incompetence. So let's go empower that incompetent government to fight a proxy war in Europe using $40 billion of taxpayer funds. That's exactly how you reward an incompetent government. I mean, it's almost as idiotic as Jagmeet Singh when debating the issue about the invocation of the Emergencies Act, who called Justin Trudeau's response incompetent, dangerous. It's his response. Jagmeet Singh said Justin Trudeau screwed up the response to the protests from day one. It was incompetent, a blown response. So what does he do? He gives the power to that blown, incompetent government. He gives them the nuclear arm of legislation in Canada. That's how you reward incompetence. You are spot on with Levin. He loves money over all other. I don't know what his intentions are, but it's. I'm just. Thank you very much. By the way, that. Yeah. Okay, dude. That's a good avatar. What is going on in there? Okay, I thought it was a snake. It's not a snake. Good avatar, man. I don't know what his intentions are, but I'm suspicious that he now has some underlying agenda based on his reflexive act of presuming a Putin ass-kissing intention agenda for people who are concerned about babies needing formula. Outrageous. Okay, so let me bring. Let's just. What was this? Oh, okay. Well, I think that ends the bad takes a little bit. It's really it's disheartening. You gotta want. I mean, you just wonder what on earth. It's like they don't have to answer to people anymore. If the political elites live in a world of their own, and they're what they determine to be their own interests of that day have nothing to do with the interests, the needs, the demands, and the aspirations of the people they were elected to represent. Why can't you trust your own judgment? Why are you second guessing yourself? It's distracting. Barbara, I'll tell you why I second guess myself. It's actually a form of insecurity that comes with, certain behavioral characteristics, behavioral traits, certain patterns of behavior. Sometimes I think I've absolutely misunderstood what someone meant, and I'll obsess. Well, first of all, when it does happen, I'll obsess over it for a very long period of time, where it will drive me crazy that I misunderstood and that I made a mistake. And on the other hand, it's a flaw, but it's also it's a bug, and it's also a feature. Because when you don't trust yourself and you constantly seek to reassure or re-verify, sometimes it makes it harder to get things done, but it makes it so that when you get them done, you're less likely to have made a mistake. But it is, in fact, a characteristic of a certain pattern of behaviors, which people can look up. To be honest, I wish our politicians sounded more like Putin, even if it is all show. At least he's acting like a leader who supposedly cares about his country. It is an interesting thing how they, the attribution of intent that the global community has to give to Putin is that it's not nationalist. It's Hitlerian in global domination. It's interesting. It's an interesting projection, or it's an interesting accusation for others to make, because could be another example of confession through projection. The people accusing Putin of having globalist agendas, conquering the world a la Adolf, themselves might be the ones who have a very global agenda. But bottom line is, I'm not sure. I wouldn't trust the Putin government any more than I trust the Canadian government. I'm not moving to Russia anytime soon. I'm not sure which government he was calling incompetent, the U.S. or Ukraine. Either way, he's supporting extreme power to both neocon. No, I think he was saying it wasn't about federal funding. It was about incompetence, talking about it's an incompetent, because he thinks he's got a gotcha against Biden. He's like, it's government incompetence, not federal funding. As if he thinks, okay, well, now I'll get to exploit this crisis and politically leverage it against Joe Biden. I don't care that there's actual American babies at issue. I get to use it against Joe Biden. So he's saying it wasn't a federal funding issue. It's just government incompetence. Either way, he just empowered that incompetent government to the tune of $40 billion in foreign aid. But I'm sure he has his reasons.